Now I'd like to welcome Erica Coates, President of MOCEAN, and Cindy Tang, Director of Social Entertainment from Riot Games on the stage. All right, so to kick us right off, Erica, could you tell me, you have a legacy of entertainment at MOCEAN. Could you actually tell us a little bit about what MOCEAN does and your history in entertainment?
Yes, so MOCEAN is historically an entertainment marketing agency, but recently in the last, I'd say 3 to 5 years, we've learned that we can apply many of the principles that we learned and we perfected in entertainment marketing to our brand clients as well. And one of the primary principles is actually eventizing a new release or eventizing a new product launch. And we found that to be very successful in that for more than 30 years, we've been working on blockbusters with clients, as varied as Paramount, like we did the last Top Gun movie, and more Marvel. We've done probably the last 26 of 27 Marvel movies. And so we know how to put butts in seats. And in addition to that, we do it in such a way that it's culturally relevant. We do it in such a way that we're drawing upon the emotion of the audience and consumer, but also in an authentic way. And brands, regardless of your vertical, whether it's gaming or it's automotive, we recently launched the Chevy Bolt for it's the electric SUV. And we've also applied it to, believe it or not, like a restaurant brand like the Cheesecake Factory, which is also a client of ours. And the way that we do that and what makes it successful is that we have passionate advertising and creative and strategy executives that are listening to the zeitgeist and figuring out what would this segment of the audience really resonate with, what's going to speak to them, and also how do we tap into their emotion in order to make them make a decision, whether it's downloading a patch to a new game or making a vehicle purchase. So we've been very successful over the years applying those principles.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Erica, for sharing a little bit about MOCEAN. Cindy, I want to turn to you, the star of the hour at Riot Games. You have a very interesting background in terms of your marketing career. Can you kind of share with us how you wound up at Riot Games and how that has informed your current work?
Yeah, so I started out in traditional entertainment, being a PA, a coordinator, a runner, and I knew I had to actually lane swap when I tried to pitch Twitter as a marketing tool, and they were like, not so much. So I actually moved up to San Francisco to work in startups where they actually saw the potential of social marketing. And this is like when Instagram launched in like 2010. So basically, I worked in social marketing across tech, music, and gaming until coming back down to LA once I think entertainment saw the light. And then from then, worked on brand campaigns across Activision, Netflix, Pixar, Disney, ended up at Amazon, and then kind of seeing when Riot was developing their entertainment vertical, recognizing the vision, what they wanted to do there in terms of putting together basically a business that focused on immensely deep fandom experiences and building it sustainably. And so that's how I got to Riot, leading oh, hello.
Oh, welcome, welcome. Hey.
Well,
I thought New York City traffic was pretty bad. I feel like I came to Austin to work on my tan. Like, this is wild. Good to see everybody, and apologies,
Well,
guys.
Kosi, welcome everyone. Kosi from PlayStation.
Good to see you all.
So actually, great segue. So you made it just in time, Kosi, because Cindy was going through her background and how she wound up in entertainment. I know you have a very similar background in entertainment, and I would love for you to kind of take us through your background, how you wound up at PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, before I get into my background, guys, it's really loud in here. We really want every single person's attention because we have some amazing things to share. It's a privilege and an honor. Thank you. Thank you. And don't mind the sweat. That's just glisten right now. But Kosi Egbuta, I oversee and head up all talent partnerships across Sony Interactive Entertainment. So PlayStation, as many of you guys would know about the brand. And my background, I started young in the industry, working with the New York Giants. And then I went to Deloitte Consulting. I was following the money and quickly realized that's not the way to do it. And so I pivoted and had an amazing opportunity to work at Creative Artist Agency, literally learning at the feet of Mike Levine, who was the head of CAA Sports. Learned so much, was exposed to so much at a young age in my career. From there, I followed another passion of mine, which is my faith, oddly enough, and became a youth minister, because I thought the two were mutually exclusive. But one thing I learned, whether it's in marketing or with young kids who are veering off the wrong path, influence is so crucial and important. And so knowing that and learning that, pivoted back into the industry, went to NBC Universal, specifically NBC Sports, went to EA Sports, oversaw their talent partnerships division, and had an amazing opportunity to partner and work directly with Sony Interactive to oversee all of their talent partnerships. So it's a wild ride that allowed me to use so many diverse aspects of my background to do some cool and amazing stuff with some of the panelists that we have here today.
Cool. And based on that, I mean, you guys have worked with some incredible IP, right? It's like very recognizable, very well known. I'd love to hear you guys take about like how to nurture and distribute like successful IP. Maybe we'll start with Erica and go down the line.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts with authenticity. You can't start an engagement with an IP, especially a really well-known IP with a really strong and vocal and rabid fan base, and try to fake it. You just can't. And so we start there. We find out who's passionate about this IP, who knows the insights about this IP, and then we partner that with our strategists, because we also, everything that we do is foundational in metrics, right? There's the science behind even every creative that we do, that we put out there. And so it's really, I would say, the primary, pinnacle of success is really being authentic to that audience, knowing that audience, not making assumptions about that audience, and test against that.
For me, it's actually like not trying to hit a wide audience. It really is about a core to more kind of strategy where it's just like, it's almost like a canary in a coal mine. If I'm pitching an idea and everyone in the room is like, that resonates with me, maybe that's not the right idea then, because I'm trying to get really specific with where I'm going. And especially at Riot, we're not trying to hit a larger audience in a really inauthentic way. For example, when working on with Lil Nas X for our Worlds campaign, I'm not trying to pull Lil Nas X's fans I'm not trying to convince them to download League of Legends. That's probably not gonna happen. What I am trying to do is make our players feel like we see them, especially a North American born icon for a North American Worlds tour. That is what I'm trying to say. That it's like, hey, we see you, and we're going to find the really interesting new Venn diagram areas we're gonna play in.
I think that's great. I mean, I could give the standard marketing answer, right? It depends. But I think at its core, the answer is somewhere in the middle. It's with the consumer. It starts first and foremost with the consumer. Authenticity, to Erica's point, is so crucial, but understanding the consumer will let us know, at least will give us an indication of what they deem as authentic. What might be authentic for a God of War is probably completely different than Spider-Man or Horizon. And so understanding the consumer and then kind of getting very focused, similar to what's been said earlier, I think when you combine the two, the answer sits in the middle of that spectrum. So the consumer, it starts with them, it continues with them, and it will always end with them.
And that's a really good point, Kosi. But I'm also interested in how to develop that IP further. So Cindy, I want to turn to you and talk about Arcane, which I personally loved. And how did you guys transform? Because this is you all getting into and becoming an entertainment studio beyond gaming. So how do you transform a well-beloved, IP like League of Legends into the huge hit that Arcane has become?
Yeah, so Arcane was Riot's first series ever, and I'm just gonna say it out loud that Arcane would not exist at any other traditional studio. No one is going to invest 6 years, millions of dollars into not only animation, but adult animation about a video game IP in the way that we did. So I think, first and foremost, we took it in-house because we fully appreciated the journey our players took with our characters for that many years and realized that no one was going to put the care at the degree that we would to the show, essentially. And we kind of did that with marketing, too. Traditionally, obviously, when we are working with a distribution partner like a Netflix, the marketing and the campaign sits with their team. We took it in-house, actually, because for us, it wasn't about launching a show. It was about doing right by our players and giving justice to the IP that they have been immersed in for so many years. And obviously, like, Riot Entertainment, the vision there is basically to build these like sustained and deeply engaging fandoms that live on multiple mediums and live in multiple stages of our players' lives. Look, there are some people there who, were really, like you, Wes, were really hyped about watching it because they loved playing it. But then there are people who had been lapsed players that had been, 5-6 years since they ever logged in, but they still love the characters and love the IP. And then there were people who never knew about League of Legends, because I get it, I'm never going to convince everyone to download the game, but this gave our players a vehicle to share the IP they love with the people they love. I got so many tweets from like people being like, my mom loved it, but she's never going to play, she's never going to main buy, so it's fine.
And can you kind of take us through actually launching it on Netflix, like the different aspects that your team worked on, like the specific, maybe tactical?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to say this straight up. The work started long before I got to Riot. It was a multi-year campaign that could only be done at a company that owned the IP and held it onto it very deeply, because we weren't just launching an episodic series. We were launching multiple, basically activating a deeply immersive, multi-product campaign that blurred the lines between entertainment, music, gaming, and esports. And so, again, not just launching an episodic series, but we were actually launching game releases in between the weeks where they could actually play what they literally just saw on screen. And then same with music, where the first place they experience the soundtrack with Denzel Curry and Sting is literally in the episode before they could even listen to it on DSPs. And so it was a fully concentrated effort to make this virtuous cycle of watch, play, listen, repeat week after week as we released in 3 tranches. And I'll say, I'm not even mentioning the crazy other things we did, like experiential campaigns, regional activations, partnership collaborations with Fenty Beauty, and even other games like Among Us and Fortnite. I think we were trying really hard to live up to Riot's mission to make it better to be a player, whether you play our game or someone else's. And so in the end, I think we were really hoping to inspire our players to show what the future of entertainment looks like. It's not just a single launch. It's a fully activated ecosystem where you could live and love your favorite IP in all the mediums that we can ever offer.
And Kosi, speaking of iconic IP, I want to talk about God of War, which launched recently. Can you kind of take me through that campaign and how you launched, I think it's the best-selling PlayStation game, RPG of all time?
Game overall,
yeah,
so far.
Game
so
over.
far.
Yeah. So
at least in the first.
Take us through the launch of that and what all went involved
Sure.
launching the game.
I mean, listen, God of War, from a gaming, let's just talk about the core gamer, right? From a core gaming perspective, God of War was actually voted, I think, by IGN as the greatest big format game of all time. And so we knew we resonated really well with the gaming audience. And so the opportunity that we saw with the rollout or with the launch of God of War Ragnarok And even a challenge, opportunity and challenge was, how do we take a beloved core gaming franchise and extend it to a mainstream audience to resonate with them just as much? And so you see titles or franchises like, for example, Marvel has amazing franchises that lives really well with the core audience, but they've been able to do such an incredible job of democratizing it and extending it to a broader fan base and audience. And so we wanted to take on that challenge. We felt like we had the right story, the right game, and the right team to do that as well. But the answer was more so in the how and the what. And so for us, we obviously RFP'd, we ideated, but then we had this amazing opportunity to partner with this incredible creative agency, MOCEAN, nice shout out, to develop something amazing between Erica and Alan, who we have here, who can probably even replace me, to be honest with you. I'm sure he almost did. He would want to. We had this amazing opportunity, this amazing creative to really tap into the game. And within the game of God of War Ragnarok, it really tapped into this dynamic that really many people, if not everyone, can relate to. There's this like tension between being a parent and being a child that anyone, whether you play a video game or not, can relate to. As the parent, it's really protecting your child from the dangers of this world, right? Drake has a famous line about it. I'm not hiding the world from my son, I'm hiding my son from the world, right? Like, so as a parent, you want to protect your child. But then as a child, like, you have this innate kind of struggle and this prowess to like want to just extend and be free and not be told what to do. This coming of age story that all of us in some way, shape, or form can relate to. Am I right in that? And so there's this really cool story that whether you're a gamer or not gamer, that we had the opportunity to tell and then also add some levity into it as well. And I think we did a great job. This past week, we have the fortune and privilege to say that we won the award for Digiday for Best Ad, which is wild to think about, considering. Thank you, yes. You can clap, even though there's noise in the background, you can clap. And so for us, it's like this challenge. It's not shying away from the challenge, but tapping into the strengths of what we have within our resources and within our capabilities, and then finding the right partner to bring that to life.
Awesome. And Erica, I kind of want to go back to you and talk about how the ad came together, because can you talk about the talent? I mean, massive talent, massive endeavor. Take us through the campaign that you guys put on with PlayStation.
Yeah, Kosi did not give us an easy brief. In fact, we said, there were so many of us on the team that were very familiar with the title, big fans of the title. When we got the brief, all the reference videos were like Dove commercials. And so exactly. He's like, we really want to tap into the sentimentality of these Dove commercials. It was like, but we're selling this, God of War, very, masculine.
Love and war.
Violence, yes, the juxtaposition between the two. So it was a daunting task. So going back to my previous point, we had to find, what is the core universal truth that can be expressed through the game, and so in the marketing, so it stays germane, but that also will, like Kosi was saying, draw in an extended audience. And I know we might tap into this a little bit later, but we use celebrity not just to mass market. We use celebrity to hit on points and beats that would help demonstrate, the different aspects, of the game. So, you've got LeBron and his son, and you've got the machoism, the machismo, and athleticism that's expressed through the game, and you've got, yeah, no, I got it. Thank you, though. You've got Stiller and his son, bringing in levity, but also demonstrating what, an evangelist can be for your title. And that's really what marketing is about right now. It's about, finding those evangelists, finding those fans, or the community that can advocate, because no one wants to be sold to anymore. We were a lot less sensitive to a sales message even 10 years ago. But now your marketing has to entertain, it has to inform, and it has to resonate genuinely. And so that's what we were also demonstrating. So it was a challenge. It was worth it, and I'm glad that so many organizations are starting to see that as well.
And Kosi, I mean, based on the celebrity talent too, I want to talk about PlayStation's more strategically too. And you mentioned to me before the panel about your Playmaker program. Can you kind of take us through how you are conceptualizing your strategy with celebrity and talent to extend PlayStation beyond the console?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think there's this amazing stat that says 40% of the world in some way, shape, or form considers themselves to be gamers. And so you rope into talent, and it's like, okay, there's a story here. It's cool to know that LeBron loves PlayStation and loves to play Madden. How do we help him tell that story? Or it's cool to know that King Batch, in addition to creating amazing comedy and acting in amazing shows, loves to play Call of Duty on his PlayStation. And we just kept hearing a bunch of these incredible stories that most people in the world didn't know about. And so it's another opportunity to strategically partner with these influential individuals to help them, one, tell their story, but then also, two, I think with gaming, we're starting to see gaming is not this thing where you do privately in your mom's basement anymore, right? It's become this highly influential medium that impacts sports, entertainment, Hollywood, TV, music, right, Cindy? And so for us, it's like this opportunity to reach different audiences authentically, to Erica's earlier point, through the channels and voices and stories of these individuals, influential individuals. And so for us, last week, we kicked off PlayStation's most aggressive effort ever in partnering with talent to launch the PlayStation Playmakers Network and program. And it's received such a great response thus far, and we've seen other celebrity talent, like, how do I become a part of this? And even not just celebrity talent, because sometimes that can be the narrative. PlayStation is paying these individuals. No, it's not even about that at all, to be honest with you. It's identifying these individuals to tell the right stories. So much so that shortly after we announced it, we strategically also announced this really cool first ever talent design custom peripheral that LeBron James is going to be sharing with the world that, again, received an amazing response. And so for us, it's about telling compelling stories in ways that resonate with different audiences.
So I do want to leave time for questions, but Cindy, I did want to go back to you from a strategic perspective. You've worked in music a lot. Can you tell how Riot Games is working with the music industry to maybe cross-promote or put music into their game, however you guys are doing it?
Yeah, I mean, so at Riot, I work in entertainment, which is essentially film and TV, music, and consumer products. It's what I say is everything that's not a game or an esports, but I also touch those too. And with it is music. So obviously, we are trying to basically create more immersive experiences with the things they love. And so I would say, for example, to just take a step back too, I think our differentiator at Riot, and I kind of mentioned it to you before, was we export products and culture. We don't import what you see in real life into our game. And so, for example, we create actual virtual artists and bands that have built fandoms outside of our game. For example, we have a virtual K-pop group called KDA made up of our female champions that debuted in 2018. And from then on, they have amassed more than, I think, 1.2 billion streams from 2 EPs. We've been certified platinum for them. And then we still have, I think, over 3 million Spotify listeners per month. And we haven't released new music since 2020. And so we're really building on these creative expressions of we're pushing them deeper into our IP and the immersion there, but also giving them new ways to express their fandom outside of just the game, being in the game. We're giving them mediums outside. And I would say that, strategically, my marketing North Star for all of it is to create authentic connections in order to deepen the connection with their relationship with Riot's IP by creating those authentic moments that really touch upon more than one area of interest for them in new and exciting ways. So yes, they're gamers, but they're also musicians, or they're music lovers, or they're cosplayers, or they love fashion, and we put that out there too.
So the last question before we get to audience questions, really quickly, go down the line. I love future forward predictions. What's the next thing you see in video game marketing or just entertainment marketing in general? Erica, I'm going to throw this one to you.
I mean, we're already seeing it a little bit. I think the metaverse will adapt a little. Riot is actually a really good example of bringing real-world IRL experiences into the gaming environment, and I think that's what you'll see more and more of.
When I think about it, it's something that I kind of touched upon earlier, but I think we're going to fall deeper down a niche rabbit hole of interest. It's not even about do you like music? No. Do you like hyper pop music? It's it's going to go deeper because it's, again, the canary in a coal mine. If it resonates with the whole room, maybe the marketing campaign isn't as strong as you think, because it shouldn't touch everyone in that way.
It's a good question. I think there are two answers to it. I'll pick one. We've started to see how really anyone can become a creator, right? Or anyone, to be honest with you, everyone is a creator in some way, shape, or form. And anyone can go and create their own channels and have their own way to amplify and distribute content. I think the layperson is going to, and you start to see it now, even with Roblox and as you mentioned, in the metaverse, but the creation and development of games, even though it's going to be more DIY, I feel like we're going to start seeing some of the biggest games in the world are going to come from that guy's right there in that corner that we're all looking at. It's going to start in his dorm room or in his apartment or while he's sleeping after he puts down the kids. And that's going to be the seed of something special that turns into a AAA title. And so I think there is empowerment that is going to be shared, not necessarily shifted, but shared, not just with the big development companies, but then also with the average person who has a core and burning passion for gaming.
Awesome. So questions from the audience. We have someone helping?
Yes.
All right.
All
right, perfect.
You can take one.
Yeah, take.
I'll get it back.
Hi, Brian Chapp from Tech Recipes. One question I have, it's kind of ambiguous, is what are each of your respective companies not doing well, need to solve for, but have no idea how to do so?
I wouldn't say that we're not doing this well, but I would say that I'm excited to see how we expand it and take it to the next level. Live service. Gone are the days where you work 12 to 18 months to develop a game, and then you launch it, you ship it, and then you come back the next year for the next iteration. We're seeing with Apex, with Fortnite, the evolution of seasons. And so there's this live service form of gaming that is becoming really popular because there's a strong desire from the player for something new. It's very much like music. People don't want to wait 2-3 years to hear your favorite artist's next album. And so you're seeing a lot of music being pumped out week after week, to be honest with you. And so live service is gaming's version of that. And I can see PlayStation tapping into that, taking it to the next level, and hopefully doing really well in that area.
It's actually, my answer is actually kind of similar to yours. It's not necessarily live service, but I'm speaking from the entertainment side, not the game side, but having enough content. I mean, Arcane Season 1 took 6 years. No offense, but no one's going to wait around that long forever to watch the next season. It will not take 6 years for Season 2, I promise you. But same thing for KDA. We released one single in 2018, an EP in 2020, and we haven't released new music since. It's really been difficult to keep up with that content pipeline for things that aren't a game, aren't a patch, aren't an episode. And so I would say that's from the marketing side been hard to keep up with because we want to sustain that fandom, but fans, most of them do, but a lot of them don't stick around for those few years in between, or they go KDA when, which is also my question. But it's the feeling of like not wanting your players to feel bad. It's that you always want to be there to like back to parent-child relationship, like feed them more content and the things that they love, but you can't get to it that fast.
Next question.
Scott Tilton. I'm the original founder and CEO of Hookit, and we did a panel here yesterday with...
Can you put your...
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah.
We did a panel yesterday with TaylorMade and MoneyGram and New Balance and talked a lot about athlete sponsorship and sports marketing strategies. So, Kosi, I think this is more on your end. Just curious how you go about identifying, one, the influencers and athletes that you choose to work with and how you kind of establish that fit for the brand, and then two, how do you measure the impact of what they're actually driving for the brand?
Yeah, it's a good question. We have a methodology as it pertains to... What's your name, first of all?
Scott.
Scott. Thanks for the question. We have a methodology for how we identify, target, and procure and partner with talent. It starts, authenticity is definitely one. Resonance with the audience. As you can imagine, like LeBron James, recognizable throughout the world. Some think he's a GOAT, some don't think he's a GOAT, some think he's an amazing player, some think he might flop quite a bit, right? But what we did know and see was he loves gaming and he loves PlayStation. There's this amazing image of LeBron when he was a rookie with his PlayStation, all the cords and cables hanging out 20 years later, and somebody made like a meme about it. And so it's like, okay, we know that he can connect with the audience. How can we use him throughout the year in a partnership? How do we drive ROI if we did invest and partner with him? And so for us, it's about awareness and helping to drive the player, the consumer down the funnel. So starting with awareness, right? And then how do we create engagement? How do we drive conversation? We're really good at showing up at launch moments or tentpole moments, but how do we maintain that pulse, the conversation volume in between the two major moments? And then how do we ultimately lead to conversion? And conversion can be a lot of things. It's not always about selling games. It can be steering to a buy now page or a learn now destination, learn more destination, or so many different things. So conversion is is very important for us at the end of the day. And so for us, it's those qualities, those attributes, and those criterias for us that we utilize to identify the right partners for what we do. Specifically to God of War, we knew that we wanted to get a parent and child tandem. What better parent and child tandem that speaks to a broader audience while still resonating with that Gen Z audience as well, with Bronny. And so it was just a great fit to secure LeBron and then tap in Bronny to be a part of it.
Next question.
Hi, my name is Maddie Bushy. I work at the Lego Group. I was curious to get your thoughts around cultural marketing and how you navigate between kind of latching on to established macro cultural moments versus identifying, when you have kind of your own legs to stand on and creating your own cultural moment.
I'll take the first
Yeah,
stab at
Erica,
that.
you take...
I think as an agency, we're tasked with doing that for our clients. And it's not just our entertainment clients. It's not just our gaming clients, but it's even our brand clients. Believe it or not, we're agency of record also for, a very well-known restaurant brand, Cheesecake Factory. And they don't often have, like, a release or a new title or a specific product, and there were these memes going around regarding and Just Like That new series, and Cynthia Nixon was walking the street and we realized she had on a print the same stripe pattern as our bag. And so we jumped on that, and everyone got a buzz about that, how we were able to connect what was going on in the zeitgeist with something that was authentic and be really reactive to that as well. It's also about choosing the channels that you market on. We're actually working with a partner right now to adapt AI to deliver advertising content for mainstream platform, for broadcast platform, not just on social, that can be adaptive. So we can turn around iteration of a spot in 2 to 4 hours, so that we're talking, so we're feeding messages to the audience the way they're used to receiving it, on their mobile, but on broadcast as well.
Hi, I'm Gabby Nevis with Factory 360. We're a brand activation agency. And I met with a professor who has a PhD in gaming. And while I was talking to him, I started talking about the metaverse. And I said, well, really the metaverse is just a bad video game. And I don't understand, or can you explain to me or chat through because gaming is at the it's metaverse on crack, it's the best gaming experience. And with Web3 and where Web3 is going, where do you see that convergence happening, or why isn't gaming leading from a gamification point of view that what is happening in the metaverse? So just kind of curious, like when it comes together, how it comes together, and what we should see in the future, especially NFTs, crypto, spending, all of that, and what are we going to see in that space?
Yeah, I think the question is, how do you apply Web3 to your current game marketing? If any. Yeah.
I'll let you tag on. So it depends on how you define metaverse, right? Metaverse is just alternate reality, right? And I would say games like Roblox or games like even League of Legends, they are part of the metaverse. I think what we've seen, some of the flops and some of these other platforms, they're trying to drive audiences where they're not organically going. And so you have to go to the audience, not redirect an audience somewhere that they're not already going. And so I know a lot of money has been spent, to try to, find that next trend, that next, and really we just need to go where the audience is and meet them there.
I mean, just to build on that too, I think a North Star we usually have at Riot is make it better to be a player. Does this actually make it better to be a Riot Games player? Does it enhance their experience? I obviously can't talk about too much of what goes on the inside, but we put everything we want to try out or test or experiment through the lens of does this make it a better experience? Does it feel bad? Are we asking too much of them? Whether it's that's why we always think about hey, if we introduce this into the game or into the gaming experience, does it enhance, or is it just a shiny new marketing tactic we are jumping on because everyone else is, or it's it's what's trending right now? A lot of times what we build for is sustainability because we want them to keep coming back, and versus upheaval of what we already know and what I think we already do well.
Kosi, PlayStation's thoughts on the metaverse?
Listen, I think we're taking a wait and see approach. The world, that particular world, I think is still developing. And if you guys know, when we jump into something, we want to ensure that we are, to your point, delivering an experience that everyone will love. Our motto is play has no limits. And so when we jump in, we want to ensure that the world feels that there is no limit to this. And in the same way that we launched the PS5, where there was this fervor and fandom and you couldn't wait to get your hands on it, when we do jump in that space, I think you guys will see and know and appreciate it.
Well, I want to thank all of our panelists here. Can we give it up? And great, we'll see you guys around for drinks. Thank you guys so much.